Yeah, I'll react to that, sure.
And crowned himself emperor.
Hey guys, original link to the video, top of the description right below that. Link to the Discord, click on it, send you right over there. I'd love to have you, more the merrier. My name's Connor, I like to learn and stuff, and watch things. History matters, I love this channel. Short videos, but broad. I always say why I love these videos, and why some don't. It's the same reason. They're very short, they glance over some stuff, but they get your foot in the door. And that's why it's such a good channel, in my opinion. And it's funny, too. Let's go.
The first time a man called Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of France after a coup, Europe got very interesting. It was a period which saw kingdoms diminished, new states created, and immensely damaging warfare which scarred the continent. And so, when less than 40 years after the Napoleonic Wars were over, another Napoleon overthrew the government and proclaimed himself emperor, how did Europe react? What did France's neighbours think of a second Bonaparte on the throne, and did any of them have any plans to do anything about it? As you may know, Napoleon III didn't simply arrive out of the blue to overthrow the government and take the throne.
It is really funny to me how Napoleon III, he kept going over to essentially, he was in Britain, look, I'm going to be very dodgy, but my point stays the same. Don't worry, okay? You could correct me on a few things, but he's keeps planning to go over into France and then declare himself, ruler or whatever. And he keeps going over and basically trying to start a coup or uprising. And then he just gets oh, here he is again. He just kind of seems like a lunatic, crazy man trying to take a throne because his uncle had it. Or is Napoleon the third Napoleon's nephew? But anyways, it's comical how he's just kind of slapped on the wrist for essentially trying to come back and overthrow everything. And eventually he comes back and then he runs and wins and then makes himself emperor. Really funny and interesting. And I need to learn more about it. I'm not an expert, but that's what I remember.
In 1848, a revolution saw King Louis-Philippe overthrown and the establishment of the Second French Republic. The provisional government established after the revolution was not a popular one. And
tax poor people more, give all dudes the vote, get rid of the socialists. I like it. Shoot people who disagree, ban slavery. 5 good points. 4 good points.
And many Frenchmen believed that France was entering a period of decline. As such, when the nephew of the former Emperor Napoleon, Charles Louis Napoleon Bonaparte, entered the scene, they had someone who, like his uncle, could lead France to better things. He won France's first ever presidential election by a landslide, and so many nations in Europe were used to dealing with a President Bonaparte. When 1851 arrived, it was time to prepare for another presidential election, and the Constitution forbid President Bonaparte from running again. As such, it was time to follow America's footsteps and establish the peaceful transition of power, and just kidding. Since the time was now a quarter past coup. In 1852, Napoleon then proclaimed himself Emperor Napoleon III, and France now an empire. So how did the rest of Europe react to this? Britain's response was one of mild concern. Whilst the restoration of the French Empire didn't sound great, France was not as...
I always read the newspaper, but because they're hilarious, but I'll do it after from now on because it takes a bit and it ruins the flow.
One of mild concern. Whilst the restoration of the French Empire didn't sound great, France was not as powerful as it had been 50 years prior, whereas Britain's influence had only grown. The belief in government was that if Napoleon III wanted to repeat his uncle's shenanigans, then he would have to fight Britain, which was a nice excuse to spend more on the navy. That said, the British weren't hugely concerned with Napoleon III's enthronement. In Prussia, a country which had been punished quite severely by the first Napoleon, the response was one of anger. Most Prussian statesmen considered Napoleon to be a bit of a blunderer, but on the off chance that the new emperor was even slightly competent, then it could cause issues. There was concern that France would now seek to influence states within the German Confederation. Next,
it almost seems like France and Napoleon III were kind of looked similarly in the 1800s. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. This is just a thought. It seems like France was seen similarly in the early to mid 1800s as Germany was seen in the early to mid 1900s. Of all right, they just caused a giant war, Napoleonic Wars, or I'm not saying that Germany caused World War I, but they were the biggest threat to the Allies in World War I. and then there's the peacetime, and Germany is building up again, and now France is building up again, and I just kind of see a similarity there. Is that fair?
Be a bit of a blunderer, but on the off chance that the new emperor was even slightly competent, then it could cause issues. There was concern that France would now seek to influence states within the German Confederation. Next door, the Austrians were concerned about French influence amongst the smaller German states too. However, neither they nor the Prussians attempted to do anything about it because both were convinced that France's ire would fall upon the other. In Russia, the Tsar had mixed feelings on the new emperor. The good news was that the democratic experiment in France was over, and ministers there had absolutely no concern that France would ever send troops into Russia itself again, because of course that would never happen. Instead, the worry was that Napoleon III would invade Belgium, which Russia was treaty bound to protect, and the Tsar really didn't want to. In the smaller states, the concern was much greater.
Under what treaty? Something, a remnant, a treaty, remnant from Napoleonic Wars?
Bound to protect, and the Tsar really didn't want to. In the smaller states, the concern was much greater. Belgium's King Leopold knew that Napoleon had designs on his kingdom, and so he wanted reassurances from the great powers that he would be defended, which they reluctantly confirmed.
Dear Belgium, fine, we'll help. You're obligatory chums. The great powers. XOXO. Hugs and kisses.
This was useful for not only Belgium but also for the Netherlands, a place which had previously been ruled by Napoleon III's father and older brother. As for Switzerland and Savoy, they were on their own. Britain would only pledge naval support, which did nothing for Switzerland. Prussia and Britain refused to aid Savoy.
The ship in the background.
Britain would only pledge naval support, which...
You're welcome. Oh, thanks. I needed that.
Did nothing for Switzerland. Prussia and Britain refused to aid Savoy because they didn't care if it got eaten, and Russia refused to help both. Thus, both were very concerned about being invaded and losing territory. And it wasn't long after the great powers had given these assurances that they remembered that they hated each other. And thus, the mutual agreement to defend Belgium fell apart, and Britain came up with a new idea. Let's be France's friend. That way, they could help direct Napoleon's desire for imperial glory not against small buffer states next to him, but against the other great powers that Britain found annoying. And these reasons combined are why none. After the Second World War in Europe...
Did that cut short?
The first time a man called found annoying, and these reasons combined are why none... And these reasons...
I almost want to say that might have been on... That must have been a mistake.
Reasons combined are why none... The first time a man called Napoleon...
I'm going back to... So, interesting, and as always, love these videos. Even if it did cut short a bit, it was just getting to the end anyway. I'm going back to the newspaper. I love reading them. Okay. After years of turmoil... Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. If this isn't... Or just... The London News, 1851. Napoleon number dos. France, an empire once more. After years of turmoil, France has yet again seen another government fall. This time, the nation's second short-lived attempt at democracy has fallen. Just 2 days ago, President Louis Napoleon Bonaparte declared an end to his presidency and the beginning of his reign as Emperor Napoleon III. The big question is, why is he the third and not the second? Well, after Napoleon the First was ousted, his son wasn't dead, and to some was automatically made emperor. Napoleon III wants to make it official, so from now on, the dead guy, who was never actually emperor, is sort of maybe Napoleon II, but not really. As for how this will affect the rest of Europe, well, here in Britain, we don't care. We have a moat and big old navy to fill it, so what's he going to do? Complain? Send a letter? No one cares. As long as he stays on the mainland, then there's no problem. That said, he has a fantastic mustache, true, and a great sense of fashion, so in that sense, he's already done well. China, they tend to get like more ridiculous as you go to the right. China claims rebellion trivial. Chinese officials have reassured representatives from across the world that China's recent rebellion, is it Boxer Rebellion, isn't anything to worry about and will be over soon. In response to this declaration, the British ambassador responded, "That's great and all, but you should just be quiet and keep smoking our opium." Babies likely to back work reform. A survey of 160,000 babies has found that most would overwhelmingly back reform, which would stop them from being used in the military or heavy industry. What? These work-shy, soiling losers have made it clear that any attempt to get them to either mine coal or reload cannons is a doomed one. Traitors. A generation of losers, if you ask us.
The French Empire choose.
Great. And of course, after this, in comes Otto. And then there's the Schleswig-Holstein deal with Austria, and then the Franco-Prussian War. No, then the Austro-Prussian War, where Prussia destroys Austria, but doesn't even go into Vienna because the Kaiser wanted to go to march into Vienna because that's like their big Germanic rival. And it's like, hey, we're going to defeat Austria-Hungary. But Otto von Bismarck was smart enough to say, no, Kaiser, I have a bigger plan. I'm smarter than you. I'm on another level. And he knew that, a French army threatening German states could be a great opportunity to unite Germany into a single nation, which, of course, it was in like 1871, 72, 71. Cool. Love you guys. Hope you're doing well. Keep learning. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.